cannot believe I'm sitting here talking to you. We could spend like an
Me,
hour just like reminiscing.
I know. I never thought it would happen.
I know. So I finally I started doing this. I'm doing recording. I'm gonna actually start launching them this week, once a week. So I've just been recording. I think I'm gonna do yours second because I hope the topic that we'll discuss, I think it's just so relevant. And so I want people to have other perspectives. Um, I feel like I live like in a very white world and people just don't get it, you know? And I try to explain to them and I can see both sides and I try to give that perspective. And I think it's very hard for people who really haven't experienced a lot of racism firsthand to get that. And at the same time, like I see, I don't, the other side of it, like I wish that that people's responses, I'm not negating anyone's experiences because I've experienced racism myself, but I just wish that the many times the way that the it's expressed has a negative effect. It doesn't, like I say to my kids, if you want me to hear you, then you need to speak to me in a way that makes me hear what you're trying to say. You know, when you're yelling and screaming back at me or you're using your words not nicely, I don't want to hear what you're saying. You know, it's like I will just like sort of tune you out. And I think that you know, so I want to talk about that topic because I think it's very important. But before we go there, I want you to just introduce yourself. You have an amazing, what you do, your job, your day job is so important. You care for people, you provide, you know, so much like warmth and love. And it's just like that love just radiates out of you. So before we get into talking about that, I want people to see this wonderful, lovable side of you. You know, what you do, it's hard, it's crazy, it's insane, it's giving on such a wonderful level.
Oh, you just made me shy. Now I'm like, all
Stop.
of a sudden, I'm quiet and shy.
You were always a little bit shy. You'd have your moments, you would be like, da all out there, and then you'd have your moments of like shyness. So let me help you. What is your official job? What do you do?
I am a social worker for hospice, so I help people transition, help prepare the patients themselves, and if their loved ones prepare as much as possible, and help patients deal with any end of life closure issues, help them get all of their business affairs in order, and anything that comes along the way that goes with closure towards end of life, as you can imagine.
And how did you get into it?
How did I get into that? It sort of became, it was a calling, really. It's not something that I sought out. I had, having experienced a lot of loss in a short amount of time. I think it's a span of 6 years that I lost both parents, my grandmother, my auntie. A whole house got dismantled when losing my grandmother. So her husband, who had Alzheimer's, who I also was watching over, and all my little cousins, they all split. So it was a lot of loss for me and a lot of separation. But when I did take care of my grandmother, her end of life happened before I really knew what hospice was. I always thought that hospice was a place. I didn't know that it was a philosophy or a way to care for people in any setting. So we had taken her for her actual last days to a hospice house, and the care she received was wonderful. But more than that, it was so comforting and soothing. The staff were comforting and soothing to myself and my brother. And I literally said, while sitting in that room, I would like to do this kind of work, because we were so burnt out because my mother was in the hospital and rehab at the same time as Granny. So we were going back and forth from hospitals and rehab. checking on them both. And so we were sleepless. It had been a month of eating just fast foods and just being on the go. And that staff really, we just wanted to sleep that night, just have a little bit of rest. And they reassured us. They said, your grandmother's not going anywhere to.
Yeah.
We assure you, we'll call you if it happens, but it's not going to happen tonight. And she would want you to go get rest. So I don't know. They were just so reassuring and soothing and comforting in a time that we were like on empty.
Yeah.
And sure enough, in the morning, they called us and we were both able to get there, be at bedside. We were there when she passed. And
wow.
I looked for a job, and that made me look for a job, want to do this work.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, what you told me is just so moving. It's so amazing. I don't think people, like you said, people do not realize what hospice is. And myself, until I saw what you were doing, I always see what you see in the movies and you think it's like, okay, this is the place and this is the go, and they give you the medicine and that's, it's it. But it's an amazing thing, and you're doing amazing work, and your calling was to do that. And unfortunately you went down that road because you had to travel that road yourself in a very hard way, but it brought you to where you are today. And I'm sure that your clients and the people that you've helped at this stage are just immensely grateful for what you do. So
They are. I mean, people are always like, how can you do that work? It must be so depressing. It's not really depressing to me. Bless you. Death is a normal part of life. And if we can make it as ideal as possible, we're going to do that.
yeah.
My nickname is the Jolly Reaper.
Well, it's a good one, I have to say.
Name me that.
I love it. It's it's a good name. It's a good name.
She cracks up. She's like, when Maria knocks at your door. She's like, well, what else would you want but the Jolly Reaper in a floral blouse? Like, hi.
Yeah. Look, I mean, people, you need it. The family that's surviving needs the support, and the person that is passing also needs the compassion and the love and understanding. And it's an amazing thing. And I just say kol hakavod. Like I look at people, like you who do this. I look at people who care for foster children, things like that, where you do it, and it can come at an expense possibly for yourself, but you do it, and you do it well, and you do it with love, and you do it with joy, and the energy that you put out into the world from that is just amazing. So very, very
thank you.
very, very impressed by it.
I didn't add, we do go into people's homes so that we can honor their wishes. If they want to be at home for end of life, they want to pass at home, whatever they want, we just honor that. But it's amazing. I wish I knew about this from my grandmother, because she wouldn't have suffered as much and so much pain, and she could have had all the services come right to the house.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
so it's a good thing to spread the word.
Was she down in Florida with you at that point? Had you guys already moved from New York?
He was here, yeah. My mother, Granny came out first with Carmen, my mother's sister, my auntie.
Yeah.
And then my mother came out a few years later. She got early retirement to come out and enjoy life with her mother and sister, and they all went down like dominoes. Carmen went down first. She had I was coming, this was before I moved, this was in 29. I was coming down for Mother's Day just for a visit, and my mother picked me up in the airport. She's like, Carmen's in the emergency room. She had a stroke last night.
Wow.
So the next day was Mother's Day, and my cousin, Nathan, my cousin. So he had to make that decision to take his mother off life support. So I went in, 6 of us went in, and I was there to take her off life support on Mother's Day.
Oh my gosh.
So then they just all, I came here to take care of my mother because she had Parkinson's and was having a lot of falls. So when I got here, I started taking care of my granny. She was diagnosed. So then she passed in 2012. Dad passed in 2012 and my mother in 2015.
Wow. Wow.
I became the Reaper, the
Oh,
Jolly
my
Reaper.
my gosh. I mean, that's a tough couple of years. And the fact that, again, you come out of that on the other side, you're a strong, amazing woman, because some people would have used this as an excuse to like let themselves be like all beaten down and, oh, woe is me and blah, blah, blah. But actually you took that and you built something and you used it to push yourself forward. And that's amazing. But wow. And then you met your lovely wife, who's now your wife, Erin. When did you guys meet?
She's here. We met in 2012. We met in 2012. And so she met me under the conditions of taking care of my mother and brother. Granny had just passed, but she was actually part of the tail end of Granny's passing, of clearing out the home and everything. I had just, as a friend, I asked for some assistance and she was there. So she was there for me. Imagine joining someone in a relationship and just being there for this whole domino effect of family members.
But
out.
In a way, your grandmother and your mom and aunt, they led you to her, because
Absolutely.
you would not have like made this trek down had it not been for that, and you guys would never have met. So there is, again, that silver lining that comes from the tragedy and the sadness.
Yep.
So that's beautiful. Well,
yeah, I'm always blessed. I've been blessed through the whole process of loss. There've been so many blessings. G came down for my mother. My mother's whole disease progression was like 5 years of me being here. It started a little earlier, but G came down for the last 2 years, slept on the couch and helped us as well take care of her. Wow. So there's so many blessings, Wow. Life is a balance.
And your brothers, how are they doing?
One is doing okay. Peter Jackson is doing really well. He's right here with me. Right. Let me give you a visual on Biker Dude.
Here's Peter.
Say hi, Biker Dude.
Hi, dude.
Hi, Peter. How are you? Look how handsome you look.
He's showing his head. I know, he looks like a teenager.
I know, it's crazy. Hey.
Right?
Good to see you, Peter. He reminds me a little bit of your stepdad there. It's like a tan.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They are exact.
Mm-hmm. I see that.
Yep.
I see that. Wow.
That's the sweetest meatball. He's just brown like my mother with the curly hair, but everything else is dead.
Yep.
Like bike.
Yep.
Except he's got the body like Natan, which is on my mother's side, but feature-wise, he's dead.
Yeah, it's like he was just dipped in like cafe au lait.
Exactly.
Good.
It's crazy. Genetics are crazy.
I'm telling you, insane. But anyway, so that brings us to you, where you are, who you are, and I wanted to talk about the race issues that we have going on. You have it more so there, day to day, I assume, and sort of kind of get a pulse on that, as a Latina. I mean, we deal with it. I know that we deal with it amongst ourselves in the Latino community, because you have the the ones that look like, so much more like, white, and the ones that are darker and in between and everything. And you have all of these. And then even amongst, the different countries, the different nationalities, there's always, you're from here, you're here, or you're here, there's always that, it was
Yep,
always existed, there was no question about it. I still remember this to this day, that because you were talking about your Cuban cousins and the fact you're half Cuban, half Puerto Rican, right?
correct.
And you were talking about that your Cuban cousins are like they're like white, that they feel that they're white. They don't identify themselves as Latinos. They were more like identifying themselves as white, and that was like, sort of kind of blew my mind even back then, that, we were all just trying to get to whatever to make ourselves comfortable. But like the whole issue now, I think we pass Latinos. We're very fortunate in that I fit in with, I feel easily I could fit in with, an African American community the same way that I could fit in with like a white community. I feel like I don't mean the way that I look. I mean that I can hop between both
Jump
cultures.
into the world.
Yeah, because everyone's like, I'm accepted on like both sides. It's not an issue, but not everyone has that ability or flexibility. And I've gone through things where people have followed me in stores when I was younger. Remember we used to go into the village and like hang out, and we'd walk around and like remember what was that drugstore that we used to go to and get that stuff for our hair? Remember? I don't even remember the name of it, but it was like
Panic.
yeah, we used to schlep all the way over there just to get that stuff for our like bakata curly hair, and we'd be followed, and then our whiter friends weren't necessarily followed, but we were followed. Like people would like look at us and they were checking us out in the mirror, like we were gonna steal stuff, and I mean, and it's so much worse for other people.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, it's just only gotten worse and more heightened, for sure.
And what's with the go on?
Who's gonna see this?
This is going to be, I can edit out whatever you want me to, if you tell me there's something in particular, but this is going to be shared on my friends on a YouTube chat, on YouTube basically. People will find it through our friends or through people who know me, but I'm not advertising it elsewhere, but it is going to be publicly available.
Okay.
So you, knowing that, be comfortable. I mean, you can tell me, look, this part is off the record from here to here, and I'll, take it out if you feel like it's part of like setting a background for yourself and whatever. And afterwards, you'll tell me, what you feel. But go on. What were you going to say?
Nothing. That part I wasn't. No, because I was going to talk about workplace stuff, but I'll just.
Gotcha. Don't. Yeah.
It's prevalent.
Yeah.
In the workplace. Racism in my workplace is prevalent.
Yeah.
And very gross and obvious.
I'm sorry. I also see that like. Go on.
The entire management is white.
Mm-hmm.
Upper management, all of our clinical managers, like there's no diversity there. And
then the caregivers are probably predominantly
Black.
Yeah.
Black. The aides are predominantly Black with a sprinkling, like if you have a Spanish speaking aide, it is the national treasure, because you can imagine how many Spanish speaking families we have, and there's not enough Spanish speaking staff to even go around.
Yeah.
So we just share this one person.
Wow.
And the nurses, the level of the nurses is totally diverse on my team.
Okay, we're very lucky that way. No, but
once it hits management, boom.
Yeah.
Stop right there.
It's amazing. It's amazing. There is that slab. There is that ceiling, so to speak.
The ceiling exists.
Yeah. Yeah. It really, really, truly does. I remember when I called up, I was going for an interview for, I'm going to just say it. I was going for an interview at the Harvard Club. and saw the ad, and I thought, hey, that's pretty swanky. That's a nice gig for me. They needed like a part-time person, front end receptionist type of thing. And they weren't looking for a Harvard graduate. They were looking for someone to work in the club, like to greet people. So like, not even like a fancy maitre d'. It's some sort of entry level position. So called up, spoke with them on the phone, gave them my name, which on paper I sound like a Russian Jew. And then I got dressed really nice, but I had my edge. I had this really like cool, I still remember what I was wearing, like this green and blue, like Chanel-ish type jacket that I bought at this great, used place. You know me and my clothes. I used to love and go and get like those old things and just redo them. So I'm wearing that. I've got on like a corduroy skirt. I look really nice, very presentable, but cool. So I show up, and when I showed up, the person told me, "Oh, I'm sorry, the position has already been filled." And I was like, but I have this interview now, and this interview was scheduled, like yesterday. Like, are you sure? And they're like, no, absolutely, the position has been filled. Fine. So I got like a feeling from it, left, and I decided that later on at the end of the day, I was going to give them a call and see if the position was really filled. And I called from a different number, and I sort of kind of tried to change my voice a little. I used a different name, and lo and behold, the position was still available. I was turned away from the job because of the way that I looked. And that is so hard for for people to get. That's like so hard for non-ethnic people, like, I hate to throw it out there, white people to get. They just don't get that. They don't get what that feeling is. I was young. I was going to school up there. I was like, I think I was like 19 years old. Something like that could have like crushed someone. It's demoralizing. Me, I was like, hey, screw you. I'm better than this. You lost. Me, I was like, hey, you're lost. You would have had this fantabulous person there making your life that much better. You're lost. But other people, like, it's crushing. And it's crushing to day in, day out have these things happen to you. And then if people tell you enough that you have no value, or say to you, you're not as good as this person, then you start to believe it. A lot of people, unfortunately, the majority of people will start to believe that. And then you live that cycle and that life, and it just keeps going and going. At the same time, a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I really feel that you got to be able to like push past that in many ways. There are opportunities now that this generation of Blacks, Latinos have that 40, 50, 30 years ago were not available. To people, like, you hear the stories of people coming over from Cuba who had degrees and this and that, but they were relegated to become cleaners and maids and cooks and caregivers. And there are opportunities now that I think that maybe we could. How do people like take advantage of it? How do we change this cycle? How does it get better? Or is it just no hope?
No, there's hope. There's so much hope right now. I mean, this shift is upon us, and it's happening. We're dismantling some of these systems, and it's really freaking exciting.
Well, what about like, how do you speak to the violence that's happening, the riots and the violence? What is your feeling about that?
For me, I get it. I support it. Like, I'm not sitting here going, property destruction is never okay. Well, if you're not being noticed or heard, you're gonna, that's just a natural effect. You're gonna get louder and want to be heard and want to be seen and want to be respected. I'm all for people. I think that the change needs to happen on so many different levels. Some people need to be out there making noise and bringing awareness on that level. things need to be changed on the legislative level. We have a lot of individual work to do. So, you know, I can speak to that because that's the work that I'm really focusing on right now. So, you know, I am one of those persons that have a lot of trauma that still lives within my body, my psyche, my way of thinking, like so many behaviors from growing up. I had a very unique
I know you live like in like all white, like white is white. You know, we would joke when we would all like traipse into your neighborhood because it was you and Gerald. You were like the only two people of color, and you brought us all into that neighborhood. Like you changed the demographics of that neighborhood every time we visited by like just going over to your house and Mona like feeding us and everything. You know, we were Latino and Asian and Indian and Caribbean and everything. It was fantastic.
I mean, that strength comes from my mother. She's just, you know, when she met Dad, she had the opportunity to buy a small property. They had opportunity to buy our house, you know, at a good price, and it was an opportunity, and she was not gonna say no to that opportunity just because she would be the first brown person in the neighborhood. Yeah. She was not. That woman was fierce. She did not take anything from anyone. Like, I would not find myself standing up to her for nothing, because you would not win a battle against that woman.
I know.
So she's just a fearless warrior, and she said, I have the right to own a home on the, you know, in this beach property. And they built up the home, they made it larger, and she just welcomed everybody there. It became a haven for so many people. And but myself and my brothers, we paid a big price. Just a lot of constant, and I mean constant, harassment and name calling on a daily basis. We were called spics and niggers every fucking day. It was just part of our experience. You know, riding the bus was terrifying. Either the school bus or the city bus. It was always terrifying for me because it was just a wild ride. People, there's just so many name calling, evil things and bullying. Everything happened on the bus because there's no regulation on there. It's just one bus driver and a pack of wild kids. Kind of scary. But my brothers, because they were male, and Pete, because he had special needs, but also he's browner, he's darker skin and had the big curly afro back in the day. And with his special needs, he received more abuse. He had people punch his chest in. One time he came in and he just had the wind knocked out of him. He's listening to me now. One time he came home covered in spit. They stole both of my brother's bicycles one time, and it's like a horror movie. They cut them in half and we found one half hanging at the bus stop off of like a sign. It's just creepy and scary stuff. Gerald and I, one time we were hanging out as teenagers, we witnessed a Black man and two females come into the neighborhood. I guess they took a wrong turn. Because this is all pretty much Irish community. And we witnessed that man, a whole gang form. It's just one by one, like rats. They came out of the woodwork from the neighborhood and they just surrounded these people and they beat the living shit out of this guy. We don't know, in our minds, he might have been beaten to death. We don't know, like that trauma was so severe. We both have the same memory.
Wow.
But we don't know that, we don't remember the outcome.
Wow.
We witnessed that gang form and just terrorize him.
Wow.
I had another incident when my friend and I were riding our 3-speed bicycles down the block, and the teenagers, as they're referred to, came and they swarmed around us again, and they tried to steal our bicycles, and they were taking dog poo on sticks, and
Oh,
smearing it on our bikes and like sticking it in the spokes and like just terrorizing us. So the neighbor saw this and came running down and like saved us. But it's that type of thing on a regular that I literally lived in fear and terror for the time that I lived there. My mother would, ask us to go to the store every day, not once, twice, bread,
yeah,
eggs, the cigarettes, the usual daily stuff.
yeah.
And I would call G up and we'd be like, I gotta go to the store. And then we would devise plans of which blocks to turn down to avoid any teenagers hanging out in the street. And so going to the store was stressful. It was an everyday stressful burden. So, my system, after living under chronic and pretty severe stress, I was a mess, when I first started high school. Like you said, I was really like pathologically shy.
Yeah.
I did not want to go to high school. The first day I cried, G had to throw me in there. I was just scared of the world and just wanted to be invisible, really, because the world was a very cruel place for me.
But it was also
That's my experience.
because our school, there was so much diversity because we had people who
Right.
came from all the boroughs, all over. It wasn't just like, the Brooklyn neighborhoods and, the Italian, the Irish, this, to that. It was like a mixing pot. And I think we sort of it was great for us because we sort of found our own place. And yeah, and
that was the game changer. I did not want to go to high school or do anything out of the house, but I did apply to Dewey because I followed G, and that's where I met all my wonderful and diverse group of friends, like you're saying, and we just found our little misfit group, and those were really the best years of my life, high school.
up on the hill. I know. It was great. It was absolutely great. No, I mean it's tough. I mean, I hear what you're saying with like the violence, and what people understand is that people who live in fear, who are upset, who have been abused and traumatized and discriminated against. It's like eventually you snap. There's this thing. Look, where I disagree slightly with you is the destruction of property of other people of color. This is what's upsetting. I mean, not that I'm advocating destroying any property. I'm not. But what I'm saying is be a little smarter about it. Like, you want to be heard. I get that. And you're upset and you snapped and you're angry and it's all coming out now. But like, don't destroy your own neighborhood. I mean, don't destroy any neighborhood, but then it just makes it worse because then these poor schmoes who are like working so hard to like make a living and make their own like ends meet, they're the ones who are suffering too. So you're like not helping your neighbors or your neighborhood or your situation also. So that's where, and I get it. But again, I'm speaking from my privilege, and that's easy for me to say. I recognize that. I'm throwing my hands up in the air and I'm saying, look, I get to make that comment coming from a place of privilege. Like I said, I can like weave in between all the different cultures, and I can go sit here and I can go sit there and now and do whatever I want to do. So that's my perspective. If I didn't have that, I could, I tried to like put my, walk in someone else's shoes. I totally get it. I get it. And I understand where it's coming from. And I don't know what to say to it other than I hope that that change that you say is coming, and people are just, advocating for themselves more. And I think we need to we need to constantly give back to communities. We need to give back to where we came from. We need to give back to our cultural origins. We need to try to help someone who is coming up, growing up, who has not achieved, their level of the goal that they've set for themselves. We need to try to help them. We need to try to figure out ways to build up all the various communities, whether it's Latin, African American, Caribbean, whatever it may be. We need to try to find something that we can do to, to inspire others to
Agree.
achieve their best selves, to be the best version of themselves, and try to bring harmony and peace as much as we can to this world. Let me ask you one question. What do you think? How do you expect to come out of this change, out of this epidemic on the other side? What do you think? How do you think you're going
Me?
to change? Yeah. How do you think you would have changed after this? Will you be different? Will you be the same? You think you'll be better, kinder, more of a germaphobe, more cautious, more family centric? What is,
Me? This COVID pandemic has been a blessing for me. It's kept me in the home, obviously. It's either in the home or the backyard. And in both places, I've been able to focus on making both those places a sanctuary. Like we talked about the lighting, and we built a garden outside. We have tents outside with lounge chairs. And so we've just adapted our home space to be a fantastical, magical place, and I've just been able to do, without all the distractions, I've been able to do a lot of work on myself. So I am ever grateful for this pandemic. And I am telling you, it has been stressful being an essential worker, going into people's homes.
Yeah.
I'm going into people's homes during the pandemic. Like that part I do not like, and that part has been stressful, but the other opportunities, I am enjoying. I also like things like this, connecting with people. I'm not a technology person. I can't stand it, but I have a Zoom account and I'm connecting with people that I never connected with before. Yeah. I never even thought I'd ever see you again. And I'm a ding dong for not even thinking like, oh, we can do Zoom. But look, we can do Zoom and we can do this more often. And
I'm telling you,
it's just, those parts are amazing.
I mean, well, first of all, we've stayed in touch, either phone calls here, emails randomly, and thank goodness because of Facebook, like we sort of kind of get a glimpse into each other's lives. God bless Facebook.
Almighty.
It's like the greatest thing. If anyone ever, like when they start ragging on Facebook, I'm like, listen, I can keep in touch with friends across the world and from 20 something years ago. I have a thing here. I'm gonna try to screen share to get. I pulled up some photos of us from some high school photos. I have to show them to you. Do you see it?
No, not yet. No.
No, you don't see it?
I see it.
Oh my God.
Okay, first of all, I have to say I was having a good 80s hair day there. I was like very rocking. I was like,
hell yeah.
Huh?
Beautiful.
That's
beautiful.
And then here, what the hell was going on with my hair that day? It is so frizzy. It's so bad.
That is good hair.
That's the first.
It's great. 80s, man.
Wow. It is. Look at you. Look at you. You have the best eyebrows to this day. You have the best eyebrows. Look at that. Look at Miss Maria there, that beautiful 80s hair. And look at all of us. My gosh, that is crazy. And here. That's
super awesome.
Look at that. Look at that hair. I can't take it. Can't take it. And
that's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Look at you guys. That was on a senior trip. You guys were walking from, I don't know, the room or something like that, all bundled up.
Danielle, me, Jill, Rafina.
Yep.
I think that's Jill. Sarah,
nope,
Jill.
That's one of the Annas. That's Joanna. Was not Joanna because Joanna had curly hair. That's one of the Annas here. No, you're right, Jafina, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Why did I think it was one of the Annas? Remember Anna, Anna, and Joanna, the Annas?
I sure do.
Oh my gosh, crazy. But those were, look at that. Those were the
That's
days.
me with that.
I loved it.
Of course.
Chris is cracking up.
I'm leaning over her shoulder. What?
And you're looking at it too. Wait,
Oh
did you
my-
see the other one? Wait, did you see that one? Remember Yo, Nankuli? There's
Yep.
Sarah. I don't know the girl.
Sarah.
Really? Oh my. That's amazing.
Yeah. Who's the boy? I feel like I should.
That kid on the bottom is Matt. That boy is Matt.
Matt, what's his name?
I feel like his name.
Berskowski or something like that?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Sounds good.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, those were the days. Okay, let's see if you can see that there. I didn't take a picture of it. Do you see it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Your cats t-shirts, and there's Jill, and then
Cats.
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 Yeah.
What's up with that?
Oh, you had on your cat's t-shirt. That was so funny. Oh my god.
That is weird.
I'll tell you. But
What the heck is that cat's?
you were into cats. So you must have, like, maybe your granny went and you saw cats or something. And you were like, you know, rocking the
I think it was a family favorite, clearly. I think that's hilarious though.
Yeah. It had been out a couple of years at that.
I was probably just happy to have a black t-shirt. Doesn't matter.
You didn't care what it was.
Doesn't matter what was on that t-shirt as long as it's black. I was probably like, oh yeah, I'll take a cat's
Oh God. But we were good kids in
T-shirt.
everything else. We, you know,
with the
Okay.
eyeballs.
yeah. Like, it was great. It was a great time. I wish that the kids today were able to have just I thought we had like pure clean fun, aside from the fact that we illegally got into clubs.
Yes, we did.
But we didn't drink.
Aside from that,
We would be going to like the
No.
tunnel and CBGBs and like all of these places. We were 14 and 15 years old, 16, 17. What's up with that? But we were good kids. We never did anything. We never did anything bad, you know?
We
So
just wanted to dance. That's all.
that's it, exactly.
That's all we ever wanted to do was dance
And to this day, whenever I'm
and hang out.
feeling like I put on music and I dance around my house, you know, aside from when I'm doing my theater stuff, but I dance around the house, and it just joy. So
Yeah,
anyway,
for sure.
but it's been a pleasure talking with you and catching up, and we're going to do it again just for like fun, without like
Absolutely.
having to talk about all of this other stuff. But I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions that I like to ask everyone, just because I like you to like just come up, give me some quick answers. What's your favorite time of the day? Don't think too hard.
When I'm done with work and I'm here.
At the end of the day, when you're home.
It's evenings when I'm done with work and I'm home with Aaron and we're just chilling and there's no worries and you're not yet thinking about the next day. You're just like,
Excellent. What is your current favorite book that you've read recently? Even something that you've reread that you've either rediscovered or just into?
It's called Death, I believe.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
uplifting book there, Maria.
Most of my books are on death currently,
Oh. Well, it's your industry.
I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated and I'm always learning. I have two now that were written by by gurus. So that's giving me a whole new perspective, which I see it positively. And so it's helpful to have that insight. So
the age-old question, and it's the thing that has driven people. And for better or for worse, it's some of the things that drive people to live a better life, to be better people. It drives some people to think, okay, forget this world. I'm just going to the next one, and that's it, and get what I do here. And yeah, it's a it's an important part of life. 'Cause it's gonna happen to all
Yeah.
of us at some
Get
point.
ready, people. It's coming for all of us.
The biggest common denominator there. Absolutely. We're all going to experience that no matter what the color of your skin, how much money you have,
Exactly.
where you do, we're all going there in the end. Okay. And finally, what's your favorite room in your house?
It's the living room because it's so, all the lighting. Well, we have so much art. Well, there's art everywhere, bedroom too. But it's the living room. It's just the place where we all hang out. Pete's here and he's been really having a good adjustment to this new home because we moved here in January. So he's really social and part of the family, and the dog's here, the bird is here, Chris comes out, and this is just where we commune. I guess it's an extension from 27 Dare Court. I mean, the
Yeah.
living room / kitchen was the
Yep.
place to be. So this is the place to be.
Was the hub and the
The
place.
only reason I don't say room is because of all those reasons, but also our bed is not that comfortable. It's something we can work on. But the living room is where we gather and we commune. So it's my favorite place.
Yeah, I would say the same too. My living room is also probably my favorite place. It's the one place I tell my kids, don't leave your stuff. This is my room. I want it organized and neat. And I can be a little bit of a neat freak, but it's the one I'm like, nope, nothing on the floor. Pick it up. It's like I want it to look and feel and just it's my haven. Like I need to come in and like have a clear, beautiful space for me. And I totally hear that. And that's where we eat and
Nice.
everyone comes over when we had company back in the day. Yeah, it was like the hub of the house. And
Right.
Mona's living room, kitchen, dining room, that place.
That's it.
Oh, God bless Mona.
That's it.
I still think of her. She was amazing. She let us all just traipse into that house and just be there. And she was so cool and chill and you know you're an extension, and your living room is an extension of that hospitality that she extended to all of us, which helped make us and keep us good kids. We were good kids because you know we'd go hang out there.
Exactly.
So you're passing that along to the next generation and doing that, so I think that that's fantastic.
I'm happy that I can continue that legacy.
That is probably the best compliment that you can give to your mom, and obviously, and it's fantastic. I'm glad that that's the way it is because I want to come and visit you in your living room. So hopefully after COVID and everything quiets down, I please God, I hope to make some trips and come and visit some friends.
Absolutely. And I'm going to come see you. We're going to Israel, everybody. We're going.
Well, you got a place to stay. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. There's no place in the world like it, I have to say. With everything else, like, wouldn't live anywhere else. Really wouldn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is a special place. It's, you know, like I say to people, we all take our trash out every day and, you know, you put it in the garbage. I take my trash out in the Holy Land. I get to do that.
Wow.
And even that is like,
Incredible.
when you think about it, you know, it's mind blowing. So, but I definitely.
It is. It really is.
You have a place to come and visit, and I look forward to visiting you guys and hanging out. And last time I saw you, I think my little one, Eden, was a baby, and you guys were we stopped by your house. Your mom was having like you were having like sort of like a Christmas party or something like that, and Lior and I came by with Eden, and she was like, I don't know, like a year or something like that, and now she's 22. She's 22.
No.
Yeah, she's going to be 22 in a couple months. She's about to start the university here. It's a little bit delayed, but because they do either the Army or it's mandatory Army or mandatory national service. So national service is also, which is what she chose to do, it's called Shirut Lumi. And for example, they work in orphanages, they work in homes for children with autism and special needs. They work in hospitals. She ran a youth group for a big city. She was in charge of like 750 kids for like 2 years, and it's crazy. Like they give back so much
Wow.
to the country. So it's all of the programs. There's a lot of social work programs. There, one of her peers, one of her friends, was a den mother. Basically, here they really try to rehabilitate whenever a child is either taken out of the home or there's any type of situation. They try to get the family to stay together. They keep the siblings together. They don't separate them, and they try to reunite them with the family. So say it's a poverty or a drug situation or whatever, so they'll take the kids and they'll put them in it's called a children's house. And then they'll help the parents or the family get back on their feet or do whatever, with the hopes that the family could be placed back together again. And in these homes, they have, like, so they're like 5 kids. And in there, they have a social worker that's responsible for a couple of different capsules, let's call them. But each group of like 5 kids has one of these young national service workers that's responsible for them. And they basically live there. So for a year of their life, or 2 years, some girls will do it for 2 years, they will go there. They will sleep there. They become the mother to these kids. They take them, they do their homework with them. They take them to the doctor. They take them to get glasses. They are responsible for them and they care for them. And this is part of like national service here. These are things that are done here. The young kids. So our kids sort of kind of grow up a little bit faster, but when they do start college, which they usually started a few years later, they've already had like some real world experience, and either like in the Army,
Right.
or whatever, or and then they start. But she's going to be starting in a week or so. She's going to be starting law school, so she's doing that. It's a combined undergrad law degree together.
Wow.
Yeah, because most of the kids are starting not at 18.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, it's really it's a good program. So I have to say,
Gives kids, young adults, really great values of compassion and
yep.
community and service to others, and we need that here.
It's amazing what you're doing. No, absolutely amazing. So
Beautiful.
Maria, it's been great talking to you and getting your perspective and input as a Latin LGBTQ. I always mess up the initials. Help me, darling. Woman and
LGBT. You got it.
okay. See, I wasn't that bad off. See, because it used to be in our day, it was just, what was it? It was just LGB. What was it? Now they added the TQ.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it was just LGB.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they
it
were
was
just.
LGB, like, and so that's why I have like, when they add the other 2 initials on, I'm like, oh, what were they again? Anyway, it's been great getting your perspective on race, how it affects you, what you feel. And I think more people need to hear that. I think, it'll just bring more understanding of the situation to people who do not live this day to day, who can't understand where people are coming from and what they're feeling. So thank you for that.